All right. My name's Tony Davis. I guess all my life, I've kind of been back and forth on whether I really believed, and I try to be an honest person, so I want to be honest to myself before I made a commitment to follow Jesus. And I needed to feel like I really felt like, he was real and God existed and there was something after life. And I didn't go to church a lot when I was a child. My parents didn't really attend church regularly. We went for a period, my sister and I, to church. We'd catch the bus and take a little bus trip on Sundays and go. But, that only lasted maybe a summer or two. And when I got older, I guess I just kind of got away from believing that I, thought God was real, and I kind of struggled with that, for a long, long time. And then when I got married to Dory, her whole family is active in the church, and she's been saved, and she's wanted me to be saved, and I guess I've resisted all these years. And I worked shift work for a long, long time, so we weren't able to attend church as a family, and that's one thing I did always want. I wanted my kids to have God in their life. Even though I wasn't sure, I wanted my kids to know God and to know Christ, and I didn't want to do anything that would stray them away from that. So I always talked to Gabby and Kaylee like I believed that, in God, and I believed in Jesus, even though I really didn't. And so finally, I kind of thought maybe Dory would take them to church, and she did a few times, and they just never really got in a groove. I think Dory wanted me to attend with them, and like I said, I worked shift work, and I'm like, well, I don't really want to get up early on Sunday after I worked all Saturday night, and I've only been in bed for a few hours, and that was kind of the excuse. But now I'm finally on day work, and we're off on the weekends, and it was actually kind of my idea right after Christmas. I said, well, let's start looking for a church, and let's start attending church. And I mainly made that suggestion because I wanted the kids to be involved in church more than necessarily I was looking for my own salvation. But once we started going, I guess, hearing the word in church and kind of made me examine my own beliefs. And a book by Lee Strobel, A Case for Christ, and I decided to start reading that. And probably before I was halfway through, I was feeling actually really guilty that I hadn't done this before. I'm 49 years old now, and it took me this long to really search for the truth and find out for myself. And so I would say probably that book changed me, that one book. And once I was finished with that, Greg Taylor suggested that I read The Wedge of Truth. And it's about evolution and kind of debunking that. And then we went on our 2-week vacation. I come back, and I'm really feeling like I believe in the Gospels, and I believe in Jesus, and really there wasn't anything holding me back. And Mr. Greg Napper said, "Well, what are you waiting for? What's holding you back?" And I couldn't really give him an answer, so I decided that day to be saved, and it really works out perfect because I get to get baptized with both of my daughters, and I think that's special that we're all doing that together as a family. And that's the whole point that we started to come into church is to worship together and to learn about Jesus and learn the Word. And so that's kind of it in a nutshell. I feel like the reason I resisted God and Jesus, number one, like I said, I want to be honest to myself. I think I prayed that when we went to the altar, that I didn't want to make a commitment until I felt like I believed 100% in my heart. And because I just want to be honest with myself. The Case for Christ strengthened my trust that the Gospels are true and reliable and everything. But if you really just break it down to the very creation of life, it's just hard for me to believe that chemicals could arrange themselves into amino acids and then RNA and then DNA and then create a cell membrane and then create life just from randomness. So that just, when you really just break it down, you just have to realize that there's a design, that it didn't happen by chance. And I think that's what it really boils down to for me. What I want to do, I want to read the Bible. I want to learn and study and grow and hopefully become halfway decent Christian and possibly worthy of entering heaven someday. To me, the act of baptism is washing the sin away. So that's, for me, it's repentance. It's washing all my previous sins away, asking God forgiveness for the sin that I've had in my life from before, and it's the new beginning. It's a new beginning for me to walk on a path is less sinful. You know, when I come to the conclusion that Christ was real and I think about him being crucified and what he did for me, it just made me really feel shameful that, like I said, I'm 49 years old and I hadn't come to this conclusion before. And, you know, you owe your life to Christ. You owe your life to God. And it's what you should do, I think, is follow Christ. I mean, you know, you owe him everything. You owe him this whole world. So that's what it means to me, is just giving thanks and praising God that we have life and we have all the things that we have. So I think that's what it means for me, just giving thanks and being appreciative of everything that we have.